Hi, I'm Stuart Crane. I'm talking to Deborah Rowland at the European Business Forum. Deborah, you've just talked about Still Moving, your new book. It seems to me to offer an entirely new take on change and how you lead change.
Yes, and I think just from the response I've received so far, I think the main response, Stuart, has been around, at last we're talking about feelings. At last we're actually getting to the inner game of leading change. It's not about models, it really is about how you personally lead. And I think that's quite radical because leaders don't often find the time to reflect on their own role in a change process. It's usually about changing other people. So I think the radical nature of Still Moving is that you have to become still inside yourself before you can move an organisation.
So there's an internal and there's an external part of change.
Yes.
And you've got to be comfortable with the internal before the external.
You've got to be aware of the internal. You're not always comfortable with the internal.
And your message is quite uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable. In fact, make disturbance your friend was one of my messages today. So even if going inward, you might find something you don't quite like about yourself or admit about yourself, but unless you can understand your own triggers, you can't then empathise with other people as well. So it's not always comfortable, Stuart.
And how do CEOs respond to this? Do they enjoy I presume they don't enjoy being taken out of their comfort zone.
No, they don't. They talk a lot about it, but when we actually do it, because the way I work is tend to doing it through experience rather than through rational frameworks, then of course you get a different reaction. But I think when people realise that when they do get in contact with what's going on inside them, they actually then become more relaxed. And when they're more relaxed, they can become more inspiring, because I bet you other people can sense what's going on inside them, even if they're in denial about it.
And change is something very basic and understood by you. You tell very personal stories about your own experiences.
Indeed, and that is where change has to start. Change has to start on the inside. So unless you know what your personal story of change has been, it's very hard then to actually understand what you have to do in the organisation around you. And I think too much change has been at a very, very high or an abstract big level rather than getting to the heart of your own journey as a leader. And I think the skills in Still Moving will help you in your life, actually, not just in your leadership.
So a change programme is for life as well as an organisation?
It is, because it's all around us right now. So change isn't just happening in our work life, change is happening in our lives outside of work. So I really do hope that Still Moving will help the world in your life, not just what you're doing at work.
So this was the first European Business Forum. What did you get out of it?
Oh, inspired in terms of all of the ideas here. Some of the speakers, I think, were really stretching my mind and my imagination. I think the main messages for me have been the pace, how more quickly change is arriving right now in today's world, and how we need to become more agile. And also I think just the delegates who are here and just seeing them actually lap this all up, I think has been very inspiring. So for what I thought was quite a tiny town in Denmark, I'm really pleased to come here because it seems like there's a movement starting here this week.
Deborah Rowland, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart.